next speaker who is going to join us is going to talk about advancing learning perspectives in the ECG ecosystem. The person is an experienced researcher and academic, currently serving as research director at Indian School of Business. His work primarily focuses on water and climate change, urban resilience, and gender and social inclusion issues in South Asia. Everyone, let's please put our hands together. We have among us Dr. Anshul Prakash. Everyone, let's please put our hands together.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vikrant and the ESG team. Let me just tell you that we are at a very important juncture in our history because the sixth assessment report of IPCC, which I have been very fortunate to be part of, has just released a three-part report. And at this moment that we are talking, the synthesis report of IPCC is being defended by the scientists in Switzerland with a group of government representatives. Okay, so I'm not going to waste much time. Let him fix the technical aspects of it. So what I was saying is that as we are talking today, in the report, the census report of the sixth assessment cycle of IPCC is out now. Why am I telling this to you all? This is very important because the first time ever the science is out there and says that the climate change is human generated. And we have enough evidence. We have scanned about 10,000 plus, sorry for the disruptions, yeah. So the science out there is saying that the climate change, as we are seeing, and the problems that some of our people have already talked about, is already out there, and that is human generated. And how do we curb it is the thing. So earlier model, if you see, the model was that you develop, you pollute, and then you fix the environment. Now that space we don't have. We develop, we pollute, but we can't fix it because we have already breached the planetary boundaries in many, many areas. And that means that we actually have to develop in a way which is not polluting. And that's where the thing that I'm trying to focus on. Can you go to the first slide, please? Yeah, okay. So here I'm going to focus today on the advanced learning perspective because ESG is a small component of sustainability, a larger part of sustainability as we are seeing. And this is where we are also looking at how we can implant these things in our students, in our people who are early researchers or otherwise. So thankfully at ISB, we have actually started introducing the course of sustainability quite 3 to 4 years before. To this year, I have actually introduced the entire course on sustainability with our colleagues, where we looked at the assets of what are the functions that we can do. Here I'm going to tell you today 5 points in next couple of minutes of what are the larger, broader framework in which we are operating it. Next, please. Next. Yeah, so the first is what we're looking at, what we call the enhancing ESG, integration of ESG in the decision-making process. So we are looking at the sustainability part of it, how they can be part of the what we call the decision-making process within the company. Second is what we call is the focus on the materialities. Then I said the material process of profit generations. So one portion of it is also the companies think that, if we focus on sustainability, we may lose profit. And that's not the case actually. And there are enough examples, and I'll try and focus on that one. The third is about improving ESG reporting. So it's not only important for us to work on these issues, but it's also important for us to report. Not only the compliance part of it, it's also about reporting within the larger ecosystem in which we are operating, so that we learn from each other. And the fourth point is what we call is driving positive change through collaborative engagement. So it's this particular platform itself is calling for what we call collaborative engagement, where we have different stakeholders coming and sharing, and that's where these platforms are very, very important for us in today's time. The fifth part is about leveraging technology and data analytics to enhance ESG analysis and decision making, because there's a huge scope for us, and I'll try and quickly focus on these points. Let me just go number one. So this is what we call the importance of ESG integration. Now, this is no-brainer for this audience, of course, is that we need to integrate ESG in the way businesses are happening, and especially when they're generating certain outcomes which may not be environmentally benign. So how do we look at it? We look at businesses that recognize the importance of integrating ESG factors into the decision-making process. That's number one. Second is looking at what we call the, it also helps them in managing risk, because you see, Bombay getting flooded for 5 days, imagine the kind of loss that we have. So we also need to recognize what are the risk factors, if especially when you are, your primary focus also has climate risk related opportunities or problems for your businesses, you may need to look at that as well. Third is also helping what we call the aligned investment with the investors' values and also expectations. So you need to balance all these three. So that's number one, is what we call the integration of ESG net integration. Second is what we call the focus on materialities. Materialities in a sense that we also see that how we can also be profitable as company, and not only looking at the process in which the way we are producing, for example, pollutions and other things, that how do we manage it? And there are 3 points I would like to factor in here. One is that these factors are those that are most relevant for the company's business and its stakeholders. It also helps in prioritizing the ESG considerations and ensuring that they're linked with the company's strategies, they're linked with what we call the performance and also the risk profile. So once you have the risk profile, you are able to integrate that. And then third is what we call is helping the investors to find more relevant and meaningful information. And then you're also providing, because that's all stakeholders that you have is something that you need to look at that. Third part is what we call the enhancing in the ESG reporting. Now there's the compliance issues already, but even without that, or even within that framework also, there has been many issues that we can actually look into, and companies can actually generate themselves on how these compliance will work, what are the indicators of success, and how do we look at the reporting part of it. And here I also would like to emphasize that it's not only important for you to report back to the compliance officer, but it's also important for us to talk to the larger set of people, your immediate stakeholders, or your outsiders and all that. So there are different social media platform otherwise that we need to also see. So enhancing reporting is not only for compliance, but it's also for other people to learn from. The fourth point is about what we call collaborative engagement. This forum itself is an epitome of what collaborative engagement will be there. And then we, last couple of days before, when we were evaluating some of the submission, we found that there's so many good examples that were coming from within this landscape that we have here itself, the ecosystem that we have. And that means that we need to also, one is to learn from each other and also collaborate for the larger impact. And that's what I would like to focus on. The fifth point is about what we call the technology and data. Now, there has been numerous examples that we can use new age technology, new age data for data analytics for being used for enhancing ESG analysis and also in decision making. So ultimately, when you see that there's a project which has come and that has a very positive impact, and that leads to a kind of a understanding where your decision making also gets impressed by the whole process, and that means your allocation also increases. And that is where this kind of cycle keeps on going. And there has been a lot of good examples where one has used data and analytics for enhancing ESG reporting. The technology and data analytics can actually help to improve not only quality, efficiency, accuracy of ESG analysis, and also decision making that we are having. So these are the 5, what I would say, mega trends that we already have. Here, just as a closing point, I would like to say that I think there has been, and this one remark that has come, that definitely ESG framework has come from Western countries for all of us to emulate. But I have been working very closely in this space, and I've seen that there are numerous examples that the companies are actually putting forward, which is actually could be lauded. In fact, one of the things I should do is to document some of these examples that is coming up from the Indian companies itself, which can be helping us to learn from each other. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.